Hello. So, the news of today, which, as I'm sure you've seen, is that Trump has invaded Venezuela, invaded a separate sovereign nation, bombed its city, kidnapped its leader, gone on TV, and effectively said he's keeping it, as in Venezuela. He's going to run it for an indefinite period of time without any discussion, without any democratic processes. No, he has invaded and said that he's going to keep the country, and he's just been very clear it's about getting their oil. He did a press conference, and fucking large proportion of it was saying, yeah, so they stole the oil from us and we're going to get it back, and we're going to send in all of our oil companies who are going to. He's just invaded a nation to steal their oil. Yes, Maduro was a brutal dictator and needed to be overthrown. But dictators don't get sustainably overthrown by anybody but the people of their nation. And he was far from alone in the world. I don't know what to say. You ever have days when you see the news and you just think, is this a joke? It's almost as if you feel like you mishear. Like, I remember the day that Tories announced they were going to send refugees to Rwanda. Genuinely, I was woken to that story on my radio. Genuinely thought I'd misheard, because it was just so breathtakingly heartless. But this, I mean, he's invaded a nation and kidnapped their president and bragged about it on telly, said he is keeping that nation and he's going to take their oil. And he's clearly getting payouts from all of these American oil companies who he's said he's straight away sending in to grab this oil for him. Like, what the fuck is that? But if he can do that, if he does that to one, like, what's to stop him doing that across the fucking Caribbean? We all know that he's got Cuba in his sights next. What's to stop him going for large amounts of Latin America? What's to stop China now going, all right, well, if you can do it, we're having Taiwan? What's to stop Russia going, well, we're just doing in Ukraine what you did to Venezuela? Like, and he's made pretty open threats as anyone that opposes him. They could do this too as well. I mean, could you imagine if suddenly US military bombed London and kidnapped Starmer? I mean, I don't think they'd want him, but it's the same thing that's happened. Yes, he was an arguably illegitimate leader. Well, he was, yeah, definitely an illegitimate leader and a bad man, and he needed to go. But I mean, what have we learned from Iraq, from Afghanistan, from Libya? If other nations come in and remove a leader without any plan for what follows, it's carnage. It results in failed states. Iraq is still having a real difficulty with Islamic State. Islamic State, at least initially, was populated a lot by the security services from Iraq who served under Saddam and got immediately all of them fired after the invasion, and were then bitter and jobless and turned to radicalism. You know, Libya is still in a massive state because of, you know, they overthrew Gaddafi. Yes, he was a bad man. Yes, he was guilty of lots and lots of crimes. But without coherent governmental structures to replace what's happened, it's now. I mean, I'm not going to kind of, you know, I'm not claiming I'm 100% up to date on the news in Libya, so I'm not going to make big judgments. But I know over, you know, it has been just a place with warlord-led factions doing all sorts of atrocities, usually far beyond the scale of the previous administration. So, this is nothing to do with building bikes or renovating a property in northern Scotland. I'm sorry, but what the hell? This is, you know, day 3 of January. What the fuck has this year got to hold? Strap in, guys. It's going to be a fun one.